Hello there guys, let's just take one sec. Today we're going to be going over this Neo Hermit deck is what it's called. Which, why is it called Neo Hermit? Well, for two reasons. Well, for one reason, I guess. You got Hermit Druid, the Druid part of it. Well, the Hermit part of it. And then you have Neoform, the Neo part of it. So, Neoform. If you haven't heard of it, you sack a creature, and then grab a creature that's one converted mana cost up from that creature from your deck to the battlefield. It's good. I like it. So that's why we run quite a few one-cost creatures here. And either you go into the Hermit Druid from that. That's one way to get the Druid. Another way is just drawing it naturally, starting with it in your open hand. I don't know. Another way is this Fauna Shaman. You discard a creature card, switch your life for a creature card, which would be the Druid probably, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. So what we're trying to do with this deck is Hermit Druid on turn 2. As you can see, there are no basic lands in the deck whatsoever. None. We don't need them. They're useless. So what we're doing is we're just Hermit Druiding out on the battlefield, milling our entire deck on the next turn, or the same turn if we get this Crashing Drawbridge, and then using Dread Return, well, these Narcomoebas come to the field, we sack the Narcomoebas and the Hermit Druid to play Dread Return, which is good, because the Dread Return will get back this Angel of Glory Rise, nice looking thing, to resummon really most of our deck. Laboratory Maniac is one thing we'll get back. Hapless Researcher comes back. We'll also get our Druids back, obviously, because they're humans. And that's really all we get back from it, unless we get the Hunted Dead. Nope. So that's all we get back. And once we get that back, we sack the Helpless Researcher, draw the card, win the Laboratory Maniac. Easy peasy. The real trouble comes in whenever we have to do Game 2, because that is a little bit more difficult. We got all this stuff in the sideboard for it. So we have Swan Song, which is a good counterspell, counters enchantments, instants, and sorceries, gives them a bird. We don't care about the bird. We're trying to kill them fast. It's just to stop them from countering our play or, say, exiling our graveyard with Ravenous Trap. It's good. I like it, okay? Lots of plating. Also good for Ravenous Trap, because then they can't target us to get rid of our graveyard. Memory's Journey is just another one, just in case our original in the deck doesn't work, which I'll get to why there's one in the main deck here in a second. From Bouncer is just good tech. If you have to Neoform into it, you get it out, and then you can start discarding cards and bouncing creatures. So that's good. Another Laboratory Maniac, just in case you need an extra one, I guess. In case they kill one, so you have 2 on the battlefield. Like if you're playing against a burn deck, they can kill one, and then you have the Laboratory Maniac so that you get the second one out. You get both out whenever you get the Angel of Glory Rise, so they can only kill one, hopefully. Cabal Therapist, it's just good for getting rid of cards out of people's hands. You can do Taxian Probe, and then you can Cabal Therapist to get stuff out of their hand. Self Freebooter is good to Neoform into so they can steal stuff out of their hand. We have Ancient Grudge, which is good for graveyard, getting rid of an artifact that might stop you from getting stuff out of your graveyard. We have the Sulfur Elemental, which is just good for killing off creatures, like white creatures. If you're playing against a white weenie deck, you can sack something to it. Then you get the Mass Vandal, which is also good for Neoform. Get rid of an enchantment, get rid of an artifact. Yeah, good. Reclamation Stage does the same thing if you're needing to go long game, and so does Wilt. So these are options in case the initial plan just doesn't work. Now let's go over our plan B in the main deck if our graveyard decides to get exiled or something. We can Memory's Journey, which only costs 1 green, luckily, and put 3 things back into our graveyard. One of them hopefully being Laboratory Maniac. Maybe a Hapless Researcher and a... what else would we get? Just something else. Maybe a Taxian Probe. Or counterspells if we have them in the deck at this point. Because we want to get the Laboratory Maniac on the field, we want to get the Hapless Researcher so we can get that extra draw in, get it done real fast. And what do we do if we have, say, the Laboratory Maniac in our hand whenever we try to go off? Well, once we mill, we'll get this Plasmagorian into our graveyard, as well as this Haunted Dead. Haunted Dead is weaker than the Plasmagorian, but it's just in case the Plasmagorian gets exiled. This one, you have to pay 2, 1 in a black, and discard 2 cards, and then you return it from your... well, from the graveyard to the battlefield, yeah. That's better. And Plasmagorian goes to your hand if you discard 3 cards. Postmortem Lunge is just another way to get creatures back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Say it's your last turn and you need a Hapless Researcher. It'll cost 2 life and 1 mana to get the Hapless Researcher back onto the battlefield. You sack it, you draw the card. Hopefully you have Laboratory Maniac. Win the game. This is very all-in on the combo. They can beat you down. This deck can kind of beat you down in the long run, but not very well. I'm working on my own brew of this at the moment. We'll see that later, but for now, that will be all. So thank you for your time. Bye, guys.